We begin tonight with breaking news. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has died at her home in Washington at the age of 87. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Erica Thomas.
And I'm Darren Bobb. The Justice Ginsburg was the second woman to serve on the Supreme Court and a pioneering advocate for women's rights.
In her 9th decade, she became a much younger generation's unlikely cultural icon. Nicole Killian takes a look at the legacy she leaves behind.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a star in the legal world, but most Americans learned her name in 1993 when President Bill Clinton tapped her for the Supreme Court.
I, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, do solemnly swear.
Poised and soft-spoken, she was a native New Yorker with a stellar resume and only the second woman ever picked for the nation's highest court. But decades earlier, after graduating from Columbia Law School, Ginsburg had to fight her way along the career path. She had the full support of her husband Martin, but being Jewish, a woman, and a mother, she said, were 3 strikes that put her out of the game. Rejected by law firms, she took a job as a law clerk, then a professor. In the 1970s, she started the Women's Rights Project at the ACLU.
Having experienced discrimination, she devoted the next 20 years of her career to fighting it.
Ginsburg took on a series of landmark cases dealing with gender equality. She argued 6 cases before the Supreme Court and won 5. And she welcomed President Clinton's nomination, not just as a personal achievement, but as a step forward for women.
It contributes to the end of the days when women, at least half the talent pool in our society, appear in high places only as one-at-a-time performers.
One of the High Court's more liberal voices, Ginsburg consistently supported civil rights, and she issued a strong dissent in the Bush versus Gore case, which decided the 2000 election. But she also voted with her conservative colleagues. She called the late Antonin Scalia her best buddy, and the two put ideology aside to share their love of opera and adventure. But she raised a political flap during the 2016 presidential race when she called Republican Donald Trump a faker. She later said she regretted her remarks but stopped short of an apology. Ginsburg has had several health scares. In 2018, doctors removed 2 growths from her lungs, causing her to miss 6 days in court. She survived colon cancer and 2 incidents involving pancreatic cancer. Her refusal to step down and her unparalleled work ethic earned her pop culture icon status.
It was beyond my wildest imagination that I would one day become the notorious RBG.
Ginsburg lost her husband in 2010 after 56 years of marriage, but she was back in court a few days later for what she called an exhilarating development when Elena Kagan joined her and Sonia Sotomayor on the High Court, another milestone for the women's movement, which Ginsburg helped pioneer. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
Tonight, President Trump carried on with his campaign rally in Minnesota, apparently unaware of the death of Justice Ginsburg. He appeared to be hearing the news for the first time when he spoke to reporters under the wing of Air Force One.
She just died? Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time. She led an amazing life. What else can you say? She was an amazing woman. Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life. I'm actually sad to hear that. I am sad to hear that. Thank you very much.
And tonight, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden also reacted to Ginsburg's death.
My heart goes out to all those who cared for her and care about her. And she practiced the highest American ideals as a justice, equality and justice under the law. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg stood for all of us. As I said, she was a beloved figure.
Tonight, Arkansas lawmakers are also responding to the news of Justice Ginsburg's death. Governor Asa Hutchinson says he admired her tenacity and passion. He goes on to say that the nation should honor her life of service. Meanwhile, Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton extended his condolences to the Bader Ginsburg family, saying, quote, She dedicated her life to public service, and now she is at peace.
Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said tonight he intends to allow for a floor vote in the Senate to confirm a new nominee made by President Trump. He issued a statement tonight saying, in part, in the last midterm election before Justice Scalia's death in 2016, Americans elected a Republican Senate majority because we pledged to check and balance the last days of a lame duck president's second term. We kept our promise. By contrast, Americans re-elected our majority in 2016 and expanded it in 2018 because we pledged to work with President Trump and support his agenda, particularly his outstanding appointments to the federal judiciary. Once again, we will keep our promise. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer responding to McConnell's statement tonight, saying the Senate should not fill the vacancy, quote, until we have a new president.
Now, here's where things stand without Justice Ginsburg on the court. Right now, there are 3 judges who lean liberal, 5 leaning conservative. President Trump added Brett Kavanaugh to the bench in 2018 and could potentially add a second conservative judge to the bench in just his first term. And here's how the nomination process works. First, nominations are sent to the Senate Judiciary Committee. That's where confirmation hearings happen, and the nominees are grilled by lawmakers about their views. Then the committee votes on whether the nominee should move forward. If that happens, the full Senate votes. And the nominee needs approval from 51 members to be confirmed.
To read more about the life and legacy Justice Ginsburg leaves behind, you can download our free 5 News app. It is available for both Apple and Android devices.